All right, let's dive right into the wonderfully weird and surprisingly logical world of Edward Lear's The Book of Nonsense. Now, at first glance, these poems seem totally random, right? Just pure, delightful chaos. But, and this is the really cool part, there's actually a secret formula hiding in plain sight. And today, we're going to crack the code.
So it all starts with something like this. You've got this poor guy, and his beard is basically an apartment complex for birds. It has that catchy beat, but the ending is just so bizarre. And that right there, that is pure Edward Lear. That's the exact kind of whimsical weirdness we're going to decode today.
So here's the big question. Is there a method to this madness? I mean, was Lear just making this stuff up as he went along, or is there a repeatable recipe for this glorious chaos? Well, the answer is, oh yeah, there's a recipe, and we're going to figure it out together.
Okay, so let's get into it and see how this is all built. Because Lear wasn't just throwing words at a page and hoping for the best. Nope, he was following a very specific and actually pretty clever formula for creating these little masterpieces of absurdity.
First things first, the foundation of all of this is the limerick. You probably know the drill. It's a 5-line poem. And the key, the thing that makes them so catchy, is that A-B-A-B-R rhyme scheme. Lines 1, 2, and 5 rhyme, and then the shorter lines 3 and 4 rhyme with each other. That simple structure, that's the skeleton for everything he builds.
Okay, so here it is, the secret recipe. It's actually just 4 simple steps. Step 1, you pick a character, right? Usually an old man or a young lady from a specific town. Step 2, you give them something super weird about them, a strange habit, a bizarre body part, you name it. Step 3, you bring in some conflict, and it's often they, the judgmental public, reacting to our hero. And then, step 4, the punchline, a super abrupt, totally weird, and sometimes kind of dark ending.
All right, you got the recipe? Let's put it to the test. Let's meet some of the stars of the show, the weird and wonderful inhabitants of Lear's universe. And as we go, see if you can spot that 4-step formula at work in each one.
So, let's take this young lady. Protagonist? Check. A peculiar quirk? A chin like a pin? Double check. Her conflict is kind of internal, right? Like, what on earth do I do with this pointy chin? And the conclusion is to sharpen it and play the harp with it. It makes absolutely no logical sense, but in Lear's world, it's the perfect solution.
And then there's this guy, the old man of Apulia. His quirk isn't physical, it's just his bizarre behavior. He has 20 sons, and he feeds them only buns. That's it. There's no reason given, no backstory, it's just stated as a fact, and that complete confidence is what makes it so funny.
This one is one of my favorites, because it's all about the reaction. So this poor lady gets totally flattened by a door. You think that's a pretty big deal, right? But what does she say? What of that? Just completely unfazed. That deadpan response in the face of absolute chaos, that's where so much of the genius is.
When you lay it all out like this, the pattern just screams at you. It's so clear. You've got your character, their location, and their one defining weird thing. An old man on a hill who runs around in his grandma's dress. A young lady of ride who buys clogs and spotty dogs. It's almost like a Mad Libs for creating these fantastic weirdos. It's a perfect plug-and-play system.
Okay, but it's not all fun and games and playing harps with your chin. There's another layer to this, a darker, but somehow even funnier side to the formula. And that's the, let's just say, the unfortunate fates that a lot of these characters meet. I mean, check this out. All this guy does is dance with a raven. Seems pretty harmless, maybe a little weird, but harmless. And what's society's reaction? They just smashed him. The punishment is so extreme and so out of nowhere. It's that shocking whiplash that makes you laugh.
Or this one. The old man of Calcutta just really loves his bread and butter. So how does he go out? Choked by a muffin. It's like this twisted form of poetic justice, or maybe poetic injustice. The very thing that defines him is what brings him down in the end. And believe me, this happens a lot. You start flipping through the book and you see this recurring pattern of total disaster. People are constantly getting smashed, drowned, choked, baked, even burned or devoured. It sounds horrible when you list it all out, but because it's wrapped in this goofy, sing-songy poem, it just ends up being hilarious.
So, this brings us to the big one. We've figured out the how, right? We've got the recipe, we've met the oddballs, we've seen the dark humor. But the real question is, why? Why would anyone build such a perfect, detailed system just for creating nonsense? What was the point?
Well, what's amazing is that Lear just comes right out and tells us. He gives us the answer key in the very first verse of the book. He calls himself Old Dairy Down Dairy and says he did it all for one simple reason: to make kids laugh, to see little folks merry, and have them shake with laughter.
And if you need any more proof, look no further than the dedication page. This book isn't for some fancy literary society or for stuffy academics. It's dedicated to the great-grandkids of his patron, the Earl of Derby. These were the actual children he was entertaining when he first came up with these poems.
So that's the whole secret. That's the big takeaway. This entire complex, brilliant system, the rigid formula, the wild characters, the shocking endings, it was all just an elaborate machine built for one single wonderful purpose: to make children laugh. In a time when kids' books were all about teaching boring lessons, this was just about pure, unfiltered joy.
And that really makes you think, doesn't it? Lear built this escape hatch for kids, a world with its own crazy logic to let them get away from the rigid rules of their time. So I'll just leave you with this thought. In our own world, which is so full of rules and logic and making sense all the time, when do we need to carve out a little space for some good old-fashioned nonsense?